Problem 2-69, which says examine the tile pattern below. So we've got these three tiles. So they want us to draw figures 4 and 5, and they say on graph paper, but we're not actually doing a graph. They don't require a graph later in the problem, so we're just going to use drawings. So let's see. Probably the first thing we should do before we draw figure 4 and 5 is get these figures down on paper to help us decide how they're growing. All right, so I'm going to pull up my paper and we're going to start drawing. Okay, so let's see. So first of all, we've got, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, first we have figure 1. So let's write the problem number first, 2-69. And we're looking at these patterns. So I'm going to write, let's see, I'll put this down here. So figure 1 is just pretty much 4 tiles. So figure 1. Figure 2, this is interesting because it looks like they've divided it into 1, 2, 3 tiles on each side. So we've got a 2x2 right here, and this one is a 3x3. So that's figure 2. And then we've got a bigger one, which is a 4x4. So there's 4 on this side and 4 on this side, and this is figure 3. All right, so we're supposed to draw figure 4 and figure 5. So I know that it grows by 1 on each of the sides each time, so that's pretty easy. I know that this figure 4 is going to have 5 on each side. Okay, and figure 5 is going to have 6 sides, or 6 on each side. So I'm not even going to, well, I guess I will draw that. So split it in half first and then into 3s. All right, that's a 6x6, 5x5. And this is interesting too, because here's figure 1, but it goes up by 1 to have 2x2 sides. This is figure 2, but the sides are 3x3. This is figure 3, and the sides are 4x4. This is figure 4, the sides are 5x5. Figure 5, sides are 6x6. So I kind of have a pattern here that I've figured out. So let's see what else they want us to do on this. On graph paper, draw figures 4 and 5. Okay, so we've done that. So I'm going to say that's A, done, because here they are. And the next thing they want us to do is, what would figure 10 look like? How many tiles would it have? And what about figure 100? Okay, so I've kind of figured out this pattern here with this, which is when I have the figure number, so let's look at a table. So here's our figure number, and here's our number of tiles. So every time my figure number is 1, to get to the number of tiles, I have to add 1 to the sides and make it a 2x2. So that makes it 4. And if I've got figure 2, I have to add 1 to it and make it a 3 by 3, and that gives it 9 tiles. So I just repeat that pattern. So I add 1 to 3, and then I've got a 4, and 4 times 4 is equal to 16. So if we just followed that same pattern with figure 10, I would add a 1 to 10, making that 11, and make it 11 times 11, which is 121. And then for figure, what are they asking? Figure 100, I would have to add a 1 to it, 101, and then multiply it, 101 times 101. So let's do that with a calculator. So 101 times 101 is equal to 10,201. Okay, so now I've got the answer to B, and I'll just put a B over here, which is, that's figure 10 and that's figure 100. All right, so let's see what else. Cami has a different tile pattern. She decided to represent the number of tiles in her pattern in a table as shown below. Here's the table. Can you use the table to predict how many tiles would be in figure 5 of her tile pattern? How many tiles would figure 8 have? Okay, so she's gone up to figure 4, and now we need to figure out 5 and 8. So to figure out 8, we're probably going to have to figure out what the pattern is. Okay, so let's start working on that one. The first thing we want to do is just put her tile pattern in. So this is C, and I'm going to do her table. So figure number of tiles, and we are going to, I'm actually going to show you a little trick, which is I'm leaving space for figure 0. Okay, so here's figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, and figure 4. And then we're going to need figure 5 and figure 8. Okay, but first we have to figure out the pattern. So let's write in what we know. Okay, so by the way this is growing, it's not the same as it was in the one before, which this one grew really fast. So this one is not growing really fast. The numbers aren't getting super big really fast. So probably addition is happening here. So 5 plus something equals 9. Well, that's plus 4. And 9 plus something equals 13. Oh, looks like that's plus 4 too. And 13 and 17, if we add 4 to 13, we'll get 17. Okay, so now we figured out what the pattern is. So if we go from 17 to 5, we need to add 4. And if we add 4 to 17, we'd get 21. So now we know what the answer is to that. Now we have to figure out what 8 is. So I could just add up. So 5 times, so this is 3 more. And so we would have to add 4 3 times. So 3 times 4 is 12. And so we'd have to have 12 to this to get up to 8. Because we've got, in between, we've got 6 and 7, and then we have 8. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 times that we have to add 4. So if we add 12 to 21, that is 33. Okay, so now we are done. But here's a little trick I'd like to show you. So if we add each time, we can also take away to go back. So if we take away 4 from this, we'll get that is equal to 1. So if we know that we've started out with 1 tile when we were at 0, and we know that we add 4 each time the number goes up. So by the time we get to 8, that's 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 should equal 33, and we see it does. So that's just a little trick that you might want to use in the future.